Guys, I'm Leigh Scheps, and welcome to Up with the Curtain, where on this show, the curtain goes sideways. This is a special edition because we are at BroadwaCon. I've got two guests with me today, Amy Toporek, who is a regular now on the show.
So, yeah, now I'm a regular.
Who also helps film a lot of these interviews. And to my left and your right is Todd. We practiced this.
Buonapane.
So we just wrapped up a panel, and it was about character actors. It was really interesting.
It was fascinating.
Oh, good.
And I loved it.
My favorite part about it was talking about 16-bar audition songs. And like how funny songs are not, you shouldn't audition, using
Yeah,
them.
songs are fun.
But I actually want to talk to you about some of your roles, because you've been a replacement. You were a replacement in 25th, 90 Long.
Well, I was the original cast, but I was the understudy until I replaced.
My mistake.
It's
So
okay.
tell me a little bit about, you talked about not doing the role the same way as the original cast.
Well, early on when my rehearsal started, James Lapine said to me, don't do it the way they do it. Because I had to understudy Barfy and Coney Bear and Panch and Chip. Oh. And those people created those roles. They were with the show out of town, and it was created through improvisation based a lot on their childhoods. So James said to me, he's like, you're not going to be able to do what they do. Put your own stink on it, do you. And so I created my own version of Coney Bear, my own version of Barfy. And I was 26 when I made my Broadway debut as Panch, who's like the 45-year-old vice principal. But if I slicked my hair a certain way, and if I did it right, I looked like Karl Rove, which was kind of interesting. This is a good look for Panch, I think.
But so you see someone do the same role over and over and over again. How do you make it your own, though, without still copying them?
Well, you stop watching, first of all, and you also don't fix what's not broken. If someone has a good rhythm to something, you don't need to change it. But there was a lot of what Dan Fogler, who won the Tony for Barfy, did that just didn't fit on me right. So I did my version of it. And you are an understudy, so the other people on the stage have to have a similar enough show that they're not totally thrown.
That was going to be my question. Do you talk to them before the show?
You'll have a put-in with them. But spelling bee was also easier for that because spelling bee, they call you to the mic and you have your moment at the mic. There's not a lot of conversations in the show. So you really get to take your moments and do it your way. And to be honest, that show had so much improvisation within the show that the cast was good at dealing with different things, and they almost looked forward to different things. Mm-hmm. People started to get excited when I would go on because I would bring something different to it.
How do you remember each track that you have if you're the understudy? And how do you not mix them up together?
You have a lot more brain power than you think you do. When I first got it, I was taking ginkgo biloba every day. As Ellen DeGeneres says, if you can remember to take ginkgo biloba, you don't need ginkgo biloba. But I had to learn 4 different sets of harmonies and 4 different sets of blocking, and only once in my 2 years that I was there was I on stage, and I'm like, why is she standing so close to me? And I looked down at my costume, and I'm like, oh, I'm not playing that part. I was during the opening number, I was standing in the position of the wrong part. But,
And what happens? Does someone afterwards say, what the hell did you do wrong there?
No, the stage manager usually knows that you know. But there's also something on Broadway called Shove with Love. So when I replaced in Grease on Broadway, and I did not have a lot of rehearsal at all, and we had a put-in where you kind of do the show, you're in costume with the sets and props, but you do it with the cast. And I said to them right beforehand, I said, I haven't touched anything from Act 2 in rehearsal. I know what to do, but if I'm in the wrong place, just shove with love. So if we're doing a scene and you're not in your light, I'll just be like, and move you into your life. So shove with love.
And then you do that rehearsal not at 8 o'clock at night, you do that during the day.
You do that during the day. And then when I was doing Grease, because they didn't have time to rehearse me, I would watch the show, and then I'd go up in the mezzanine. There's a little place that I would do the dances along with them. But by the time they taught me the dances, they were like, you keep starting on the wrong foot. And I'm like, oh, because I'm doing the mirror image of it.
Amazing. I have a question. Is that okay? This is the first time asking a question on Up with the Curtain. How did the whole experience with 30 Rock? I know it's not exactly BroadwaCon material. Sorry about that. But how did it come about? Because you do improv classes, right? Is that where?
No, it had nothing to do. The only improv I've ever officially done was Don't Quit Your Night Job, which was a show about Broadway people doing improv. And
that's where I first
Broadway
learned about Todd, because I was an avid YouTube watcher, and I was obsessed with the whole idea of don't quit your night job. I never got to see it in person, but that's how
I didn't even know that stuff was on YouTube. That makes me nervous.
Oh no, it's fantastic.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
I was also fatter and had crazy hair from the spelling and time. So my hair was so crazy. Anyway, 30 Rock. I had done a little TV. I had done hospital security guard on the Black Donnellys.
Yes,
you remember that show?
Yes.
And then I had played a 17-year-old special needs boy on Law & Order Criminal Intent.
Who hasn't, right?
Changed the stage. We don't do that anymore. But then I saw this breakdown, and I reached out to my agent, and I said, can you get me in for this? And I went in that day, call back the next day, and it was one of those callbacks I went to where they shoot the show, and I was Tina wasn't in the room, but the showrunner was in the room, and I did it once, and he said, do you want to do it again? And I said, no, I did it right. I did what I wanted to do, and he goes, I totally agree with you.
Wow.
And then it turned into a recurring role.
Yeah, and I auditioned for 5 lines for a guy named Jeffrey, and a trans man named Jeffrey, and then it turned into, they kept bringing me back, and I was Jeffrey Wienerslave. Human resources guy. Yeah, I got very lucky.
Super.
And part of why the editing department really liked editing me.
Okay.
It makes everyone's job easier. You're editable.
So my 3rd episode, I was leading the sexual harassment seminars, and the head editor, Irene, said, I want to be one of the harassers. I want to be in that scene. Because she liked me. So whenever I came to set, she would come down and give me a hug. And it was a really lovely place. They knew how lucky they were to be making that show because it never got a lot of viewers, but it won all the awards.
It never got a lot of viewers.
No, not at its time.
Really?
Everybody's watched it now.
Oh, wow.
Everybody with a brain has watched it.
Yes. All right, it is time for the 11 o'clock number.
Okay.
And so this is the Broadway Rorschach game. So Amy's going to hold up a playbill, and Todd, you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind when you see what's the playbill.
Just like one word?
No, whatever you want.
Okay.
One word, any thoughts.
Okay.
All right, Amy.
You ready?
You're up.
Do I have to be nice?
No.
Worst best musical ever. Already mean.
Coming out with a bang. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me if you've done this show before.
I have not done the show, but I just think of crazy Stroman genius. And, okay, I'm breaking the game for a second, but I did a workshop with Stroman last year and a half ago, and she hired me someone recommended me. She watched a video that just happened to be on YouTube. She hired me. I had never met her, and we got in the elevator together. Okay. And I said, this may be the worst way to first meet you, but may I do my imitation of Liza presenting you with your first Tony? And she said, okay. And so I did it, and I said, and the Tony goes to, and I am crazy for you, Susan Stroman. And she stood still and then grabbed my hand when the elevator door opened and said, you're doing it for everybody. Because I was like, this could have ruined my relationship.
And the last one, Amy.
Okay.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, why not?
This is the Evita playbill.
I got it. There's so much.
Poor storytelling. Great tunes. And it's not really the truth of what happened. And it's always fun to see people sing that high, but that's not what happened, and we can't really tell what's happening in the show.
Oh my gosh. All right, well that's it for Up with the Curtain. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Amy.
Oh my
See you
God.
next time.
That's so good.